And then the Democrats just elected three very far left Democratic socialists in New York who are crazy, like outright really crazy. So, like, how are they going to blow it? I don't know, but they seem to be well on their way.
Okay, well, it doesn't make me forget that his wife loved October 7th attack on Israel and that he pals around with terrorists.
No, come on. Have you had him on the show?
We ask people like that, Ro, they never come.
New York didn't just send the Democratic Party a warning shot. It sent a flashing neon sign, a siren, and maybe a marching band yelling, "Pay attention," because what Bill Maher is reacting to isn't one mayor, one primary, or one viral speech about the Knicks. It's a political movement that has figured out how to sell young voters a dream. Free this, free that, abolish this, dismantle that, and somehow everything gets better. Maher's message boiled down is basically, guys, are we seriously doing this again? Before we get into it, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment because this one's going to make people uncomfortable. These weren't random protesters yelling outside a campus library. These were candidates winning real primaries in real districts with a real path to power. Brad Lander, Claire Valdez, and Daria Liza Avila Chevalier didn't just have a good night. They sent a message that the Democratic Socialist wing is done asking for permission to sit at the table. They're grabbing the chair, ordering the food, and telling everyone else the menu is problematic. That's exactly why Maher sounds alarmed. For years, Democrats begged young people to vote, register, organize, show up, use your voice. Well, congratulations, they did. But a lot of those young voters are now showing up for candidates who talk about abolishing ICE, shrinking police power, dismantling the prison system, punishing the rich, and remaking the economy from the ground up. It's like ordering a pizza and being shocked when it arrives with pineapple, sardines, and a side of Marks.
Because this is big news in this country. I don't know if you saw what happened in New York. There were three candidates for this. These are the primaries. They are going to win the election, so there are going to be three Democrats in Congress. These are Mamdani's people. These are Democratic socialists, I think very different than the Democratic Party. What happened is, for years we've been asking young people to vote. Well, now young people are voting, and they're voting to abolish the police, abolish prisons, unlimited immigration, so no cops, no prisons, no borders, proving for sure that eating Tide Pods does cause brain damage.
Maher's point isn't that every young voter is clueless. It's that a generation raised on doom scrolling, debt, activist slogans, and a nonstop America is terrible narrative is now looking at socialism like it's a life hack. Rent is high. Socialism. Groceries are expensive. Socialism. Can't afford childcare. Socialism. It's the political version of a miracle skincare routine on TikTok. Use this one ideology and all your problems disappear. But wait, there's more. The most dangerous sales pitch in politics is always the one that sounds compassionate. Free rent sounds amazing when your landlord just raised your lease. Free food sounds amazing when groceries feel like a luxury item. Free public transit sounds amazing when you're handing over half your paycheck just to exist in a city that smells like hot garbage and ambition. Of course, people are tempted. That's the point. Socialism sells itself through the same shiny window display. No struggle, no scarcity, no hard trade-offs, no ugly math. Then you walk inside the store and realize nobody can tell you who's actually paying the bill. That's the part Maher keeps hammering. Young voters aren't wrong to be angry about the cost of living. They're not wrong to look at a system full of billionaires, bureaucracy, corruption, and corporate nonsense and think, okay, this is broken.
Democrats seem to be having this debate whether or not Mayor Mamdani is a socialist or a democratic socialist. Let me settle it. He's a straight-up communist. How do I know this? Well, I'm reading between the lines when one of his major advisors says, elect more communists. It's fine. It's a belief system. He's allowed to believe it, and people are allowed to vote for it. But if liberals deny it, like he's just going through a goth phase, they're going to lose more elections. This is not a communist country.
But being mad at a leaky roof doesn't mean you burn the whole house down and move into a tent made of campaign slogans. And here's the Democratic Party's real problem. Its cultural wing spent years telling young Americans the country is greedy, oppressive, colonialist, capitalist. Pick an ism, any ism. It probably fit into a college seminar somewhere. Then, everyone acts shocked when those same young Americans grow up and say, cool, let's replace the whole thing. What did anyone expect? You can't spend a decade telling people the house is evil and then panic when they show up with gasoline. gasoline. Maher sees the trap. The old Democratic establishment wants the energy of the activists left without being swallowed by it. They want the votes, the volunteers, the small dollar donations, the TikTok edits, the campus enthusiasm. Not us, but not the consequences when those activists actually win elections and start demanding real power. That's not a movement supporting a party anymore. That's a takeover with better graphic design. Mamdani is the perfect symbol of this new era. He's charismatic. He knows how to package ideas. He knows how to talk to young people without sounding like a malfunctioning Senate robot reading from index cards. He can turn a basketball celebration into a political sermon and a city budget debate into a rally. Candidate quality matters, style matters, vibes matter. And right now, Mamdani has something the old guard desperately lacks: momentum.
I think Mamdani's a great one, huh?
I do. I mean, did you see his Knicks speech? I mean, anyone
not the
who saw-
issue that most concerned me. I don't
It's
need.
worth a watch because the speech was not just about the Knicks. First of all, he recites every Knicks player. I mean, I couldn't do that about the.
Who gives a
49ers.
shit about the Knicks? He's the mayor of New York.
Well, yeah, but he talks about how it's actually bringing people together. Trump voters, Mamdani voters, how it's overcoming the odds. And he took a speech that was just about celebrating a championship, and he made something bigger about it. He's a talented.
Okay. Well, it doesn't make me forget that his wife loved October 7th attack on Israel, and that he pals around with terrorists.
No, come on. Have you had him on the show?
We ask people like that, Ro. They never come.
I'll talk to him. I think
I
he
would
should
love
come.
that.
You know,
I think he should too.
That's why dismissing him as a phase is a mistake. This isn't a college freshman discovering a Che Guevara poster and bad dorm room coffee. This is an elected mayor with allies winning primaries. This is a political brand being stress tested in America's biggest, most expensive, most unforgiving city. And the brand is simple. The system failed you. Rich people stole from you. Capitalism is the villain, and we're here to take it back.
Listen to this. There are thousands of people from countries we think of as prosperous and advanced who have come here and are now saying they can no longer go on in life if they can't get ranch dressing. One woman from Sweden said, "Why did no one tell me ranch sauce is like crack?" Because it's not. Your crack must suck.
To be fair, that message lands because the frustration behind it is real. People are tired, they're working hard, and still falling behind. They're watching politicians give speeches about working families, while those same families choose between groceries and rent. So when a candidate says, "I'll fight for you," people listen. That's the uncomfortable truth Republicans and centrist Democrats both need to sit with. You can't beat a message with mockery alone. You beat it with something better. But Maher's criticism lands too, because the socialist solution often skips the part where reality walks into the room. Tax the rich has been a campaign line since the invention of podiums. Fine, but what happens when the rich actually leave? When businesses slow down, investment dries up, and the tax base starts eyeing Florida like it's a romantic getaway? What happens when free programs become permanent obligations, but the revenue funding them isn't permanent at all? That's not cruelty, that's arithmetic, and arithmetic is undefeated. New York is one of the most expensive, most heavily taxed, most logistically insane cities on earth. It has to keep trains moving, garbage collected, schools open, police staffed, businesses operating, tourists spending, families staying, and taxpayers still believing the whole machine is worth funding. You cannot run that machine on vibes and resentment. Eventually, someone has to open the actual budget spreadsheet, and spreadsheets don't care how many likes your campaign video got. Here's where the abolish language becomes a political time bomb. Abolish police, abolish prisons, abolish borders, abolish ICE. These slogans get applause in activist rooms, but normal people hear them and think, wait, who exactly is coming when I call 911? The activist hears liberation, the parent hears danger, the shop owner hears chaos, the immigrant who came here through the legal process hears unfairness, the working class commuter who just wants a safe ride home hears a political class.
I'm just glad you're talking to me. You know, I mean, I say it every time, and the Republicans come here, they take their beating like a man. It's the people I vote for. They're the ones who won't talk to me. That's odd, isn't it?
It is very odd.
I mean, and I'd
Well,
probably...
like this new woman who was elected in New York. Do you think she'll come on the show?
Oh, I know you want... No, I can't get AOC. I can't get Mamdani. I couldn't get Kamala Harris. You know, it took me 8 years to get Obama. Anyway, let's not talk about my problems.
That has completely lost the plot. Politics isn't just ideology, it's lived experience. Someone who has never had to worry about crime can romanticize abolishing police. Someone with private security can talk about defunding law enforcement like it's a moral upgrade. But the people who actually deal with the consequences want safety. They want order. They want opportunity. They want compassion too, but not compassion that turns their block into an unpaid experiment. Are there real problems with policing, incarceration, and immigration enforcement? Absolutely. Big, ugly, expensive ones. But pretending every other system is a paradise and every American institution is pure evil isn't reform. It's tantrum politics dressed up in moral language. And here's the irony that rarely gets said out loud. People from all over the world still want American wages, American universities, American technology, American entertainment, American opportunity, and, apparently, American ranch dressing. If the country were the dystopian nightmare it's sometimes described as, why does so much of the world still line up for a shot at it? Because underneath the noise, America still offers something rare, the chance to move, build, fail, recover, reinvent, and rise. Socialism is attractive because it promises security, but the American promise has always been possibility. And possibility is messier, scarier, and never guaranteed. It also doesn't require turning citizens into permanent dependents of a political machine that decides who gets what. This is why Maher keeps inviting these figures into hostile territory instead of friendly ones. A friendly interview doesn't reveal much. Anyone sounds brilliant when the interviewer is basically holding a pillow under every answer. The real test is sitting across from someone who disagrees with you, presses you, interrupts the spin, and asks, "No, seriously, how does this work? Dollars, staffing, public safety, incentives, trade-offs." And honestly, that would be must-watch television. Put Mamdani across from Maher for a full hour. No easy outs. Can democratic socialism actually run a city the size of New York without squeezing the very people who fund it? Can you make life affordable without crushing growth? Can you reform policing without ordinary citizens feeling abandoned? Can you help the poor without turning the middle class into the permanent ATM?
And I promise this is going to be a lot easier than talking to the Iranians. or even more, The View.
The question is whether it's harder than The View. That's right.
I'm just glad you're talking to me. I mean, I say it every time.
The bigger problem for Democrats is that Republicans are going to frame this movement in the simplest possible terms. Democrats equals socialism, socialism equals decline. Before anyone says that's unfair, welcome to politics. The other side isn't going to footnote your ideological distinctions. They're going to show the wildest slogans, the most radical clips, the most expensive promises, and say, this is the Democratic future.
So the three in New York City are Chevrolet, Valdez, and Lander. And they're all Mamdani guys. Mamdani's a communist, okay? And what they're doing is trying to seize all the assets of New York City and distributed those assets to the poor. That's what the game is. Okay, so when you see the numbers...
And the scary part is that the movement's own rhetoric is making that attack easier to run. Every time a candidate says abolish instead of reform, every time public safety gets framed as a capitalist conspiracy, every time taxpayers get treated like an enemy class to be rated rather than citizens to be persuaded, that's another campaign ad-handed straight to the opposition. It's political malpractice wrapped in moral confidence. But here's the twist. The Democratic establishment can't simply stomp this wing out and pretend nothing happened, because the socialist surge is feeding on real pain. Housing is genuinely insane in most major cities. Healthcare costs are genuinely broken. Childcare is genuinely unaffordable. Young people genuinely feel locked out of home ownership, of stability, of the version of adulthood their parents had. Wages often don't stretch far enough. People are angry for a reason. The question was never whether that anger is real. The question is who gets to channel it. And if the only people speaking directly to that frustration are the socialists, then the socialists keep winning. By default, not necessarily by merit. Mocking them might feel satisfying, but mockery alone won't be enough. What's needed is an answer that says, yes, life is too expensive, and here's how we fix it without detonating the economy that pays for the fix.
They're fairly staggering. 44% of all of those working right now in New York City were born overseas. 44%. 38% of all New Yorkers were born overseas. So this is a migrant town, like London. London's fallen apart. New York City will fall apart.
An answer that is pro-worker and pro-growth, pro-family and pro-safety, pro-opportunity and pro-reality. Normal people don't want a lecture from a billionaire or a fantasy from a socialist. They want their life to actually work. That's why Maher's warning matters. He's pointing out that Democrats are flirting with a movement that might energize the base while terrifying the rest of the country. A message that wins a low turnout primary in a deep blue district can collapse the moment it hits a swing suburb where voters care less about ideological purity and more about whether their car gets broken into. New York is now the test case for the entire national argument. If Mamdani and his allies deliver, if the city gets more livable, not less, they become proof of concept for the socialist wing nationally. But if the city becomes more expensive, less safe, more chaotic, or more hostile to the businesses that fund its services, the backlash won't stay local. It'll be national and it'll be loud. Because America tolerates political experiments. It does not forgive leaders who make daily life worse while congratulating themselves for being morally superior while doing it. That's the real danger of utopian politics. It lets politicians measure success by intentions instead of outcomes. They don't ask, did this actually help people? They ask, did this sound compassionate? They don't ask, can we afford it?
Okay? But the Democratic Party is now the home of all the communists. It's not that the Communist Party runs on its own. It's attached to the Democratic Party. That will hurt the Democrats as more and more American citizens figure this out. They haven't figured it out yet because the media covers for this. My monologue tonight would never be heard on any of the networks or CNN.
They ask, can we shame people into paying for it anyway? That's how cities get mismanaged. That's how parties lose the center. That's how ordinary voters start saying out loud, these people are not serious. So yes, Maher is right to sound the alarm. Not because every socialist is secretly plotting a Soviet sequel, not because every young voter has been brainwashed, but because political movements should be judged by what they reward, what they excuse, and what they normalize. Right now, a lot of people are normalizing slogans that would have sounded fringe in mainstream politics not that long ago. The Democratic Party has a choice. It can be the party of practical reform, public safety, economic growth, and working-class dignity. Or it can become the party that keeps pretending free everything is a governing philosophy and abolish everything is a plan. One path might actually help people. The other leads straight into the same wall history, keeps putting in front of socialist experiments, decade after decade, country after country. At the end of the day, voters don't need another ideology with a cute logo and a good font. They need rent they can afford, streets they can walk down safely, schools that actually teach, jobs that actually pay, and leaders who understand that good intentions don't keep the lights on. Maher sees what a lot of Democrats refuse to admit out loud. The socialist wing is no longer a fringe sideshow. It's organized, it's motivated, and right now, it's winning. The question isn't whether this movement is going away. It isn't. The question is whether America watches this experiment with open eyes or lets the salesman promise free everything until the bill finally, inevitably, arrives. Drop your thoughts in the comments. This debate is only getting louder. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stick around for more.